no matter where we come from, whether you come from a great suburb living, humble beginnings, your parents were together, your parents weren't together, you had money, you didn't have money, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, we all share the similar story. We are all connected and we are all simple decisions away from having either the same life or different lives. I like the rules. Have fun, be yourself. That's all I know how to be. I'm Ish Lopez. I do a lot. Some may say too much. My big boy job, I'm a police officer, but I also do real estate. I run a podcast called the Relentless Project. Yeah, I'm a family man. I am involved in a few businesses regarding training, self defense, defensive tactics. I have a charity, a nonprofit where we donate to first responders, families in need, which is very dear to my heart because there's a lot of charities to give to people in need, but the men and women who are out there putting themselves on the line and left to hang sometimes, they never have that lifeline. So I wanted to try to give back in that way. This question is interesting because a lot of times I ask this and I get the "what do you do" part, right? Like, who are you? We give the "what do you do." Like, who are you? That's something I've been reflecting a lot and thinking deeply about. And when I think of the core, who am I? Take away my job, who am I? Take away my family, who am I? Take away the real estate, who am I? Take away the podcast, which would be a big thing to take away. But who am I? So I think at the core, I'm just a man trying to leave people, places, and things better than I found them. Sometimes we do better at that than other times. So depends who you ask. We're always, as long as you're going with good intention and doing a lot of self reflection and improving, I don't think you can go wrong. But just trying to push people, motivate people, and inspire people to take ownership of their lives. That's who I am, and that's what I do. On a scale of 1 to 10, how authentically are you living right now, both online and offline? 10. But that's taken, how old am I? 33. That's taken 32 years to figure out. I know online makes it easy for people to kind of present themselves in a certain way, but I'm very intentional with what I post online. And if it doesn't resonate with who I am as a person, I don't do it online, but I won't even post it, right? Like, especially if it's like taking something out of context, I'll try not to post it because at the end of the day, again, my goal is to just help people. And if what I'm posting isn't going to really help anyone, then it doesn't serve a purpose to post. So I'm very intentional with how I am, especially now, to being my true self because as soon as you lose yourself, you lose everything else around you. You spend a lot of time asking the questions. How does it feel to be on the other side of it? Well, it's not comfortable. It's fun and it's exciting, but again, I try to be 100% authentic, so it's always scary. Like how you rehearse yourself coming here, but then once you're sitting in the hot seat, I see why they call it the hot seat because you come in not knowing the questions they're going to ask. When I'm on the other side of it, I know the direction I want. I've been very intentional with the theme and how I'm going to approach the conversation and how I'm going to bring it back in. I don't have that luxury being on the hot seat, so but I do appreciate it because it gives you a chance to show who you are authentically. So how does it feel? Feels great. Feels scary, but as I tell people, I would be a hypocrite because I tell people do things that are uncomfortable. Put yourself in the hot seat. I actually released a blog called like sit in the front, right? Like when we go to a room or a meeting, we like to sit in the back, right? We like to see everything and hopefully not get called on. Put yourself in the front. Get uncomfortable. Let you be seen. Do things that are uncomfortable so that you can continuously grow from that. Comfort and growth don't live in the same room. So I'm very excited for the opportunity. Do you prefer being the one holding the space? Absolutely. It's safe. It's safe. I like holding the space because I'm very intentional with what I do. So I have an idea of what I'm going to present when I'm holding the space. When I don't hold the space, I don't know where it's going to go. So I think it's human nature to be comfortable in the rooms you're familiar with. So I think the big thing is stepping into new rooms. So good question. You grew up with a single mother and humble beginnings. What was the moment you realized you wanted more for your life? Well, this could be an episode all on its own. Early on, single mother, so no real father in the home. So I replaced my father with other things, whether it be bad influences, other men, other roles, things that took the position of father, right? So my older brother, I love him to death, but he was not leading the best life. He didn't really have his father there either, but I was following him. So that led me to a lot of dark places, a lot of bad decisions, and it's interesting how life works because a bad decision left left my daughter being born. And when my daughter was first born, I remember sitting there and thinking like I can't keep living this life like I'm responsible for another human. And that was the thing that kind of woke me up. And then, my mother, I love her, never finished high school, but she made sure I had every homework assignment. The joke is, especially with kids nowadays, they miss school because they don't feel good or they have a dentist appointment. My mom was the one who, if I had a dentist appointment at 11, I'd go to school, she'd pick me up, and then she'd bring me back. And like other kids would get McDonald's and stuff. No, you're eating the lunch at the school. And I'm like, well, we missed lunch. She's like, well, that's what you get for having a dentist appointment. Like you scheduled this. So my mom was very firm and very strict when she could have been. A lot of times she was working. So I was able to get away with a lot of things. But having that strong mom and realizing like I haven't been living the best life, I now have responsibilities, and I owe my mom more to be a better man, the man that she strived for me to be, that I would be around her. And then when I wasn't around her, I was a different person. So living with that confliction, having my daughter, and then like I said, she was very strict, so I was able to get into college, being the first person in my immediate family to go to college and seeing how big the world is, how amazing people are, was the next thing that led to me realizing I need to do better and I need to be better, not only for myself but for those around me who believed in me so much. So that's when I think that's when I realized having my daughter, having an amazing mother, and then finally breaking out of my environment. You talked about feeling like you didn't belong. How did that feeling shape who you are today? Well, it's interesting because it still shapes who I am today. Growing up in inner city, I went to a college preparatory school, which I applied to as a joke and got in. So a lot of the kids didn't look like me. They didn't come from places I came from. Everyone had their mom, their dad. They had great resources. So I always felt like I didn't belong. Made great friends there, but always felt like, man, like, is this really for me? People like me don't get to go to places like this. I get to be here. And then playing sports. I'm like these kids have been playing sports since they learned how to walk. I started playing sports in high school. Like I never felt like I belonged. Um, having having a daughter at a young age. Like I'm not supposed to be a father right now. So I was 17, 18 when my daughter was born, going off to college, and I'm like, I don't I shouldn't be a father. To getting into college. You're surrounded by people who have their college paid for. I took out every loan in the book because I didn't have that guidance to say, hey, you're going to have to pay this back later. Funny story is the Parent Plus loan. If you go to college, you know what the Parent Plus loan is. I remember I was at the office and they're like, oh, you don't have enough money to cover your semester, but there's this Parent Plus loan your parents can apply for. And I'm like, well, it's only my mother, and I'll tell you right now, it's going to be declined. And the response was, well, that's awesome because then they have to give it to you, so you get it automatically. I remember thinking like, great, I get to stay in college. Well, you're literally telling people you can't afford this. Awesome, we're going to give it to you anyway, and you have to pay it later. Never felt like I belonged there. Joining law enforcement. Growing up, I was surrounded by law enforcement, but on the other side. And I had a skewed vision of law enforcement given my environment. But it always intrigued me because I would see the people who did it right. And I'm like, wow, these are people who don't know me, shouldn't have to care about me. And here they are spending their time making sure that I don't mess up again. And then you'd see the people who you're like, why are you here if you don't even care about your job? So when I joined, I was like, I had an issue with it. So I was like, I'm going to be the person who I'm going to exhibit this is the right way to do it mentality. But being in there didn't feel like I belonged. Even with the podcast. Who am I to have a podcast? Like, you know how many people I've surrounded myself with who've lived amazing lives, who've done better than me, who speak better than me, who have had way more opportunities than me and resources than me. Who am I to think I can have a podcast? So in everything I do, I never felt like I belong. But how does it shape me? It keeps me uncomfortable and it keeps me striving to be better and striving to fit it in these rooms while maintaining truth to myself, right? Because I'm not gonna lie to get into these rooms. I'm gonna be myself. And the beautiful thing is there's been so many people, so many conversations I've had that have shaped me to who I am. And that's why I hone in on the podcast so much, because the person I am today, I needed so desperately when I was a kid. And being able to be that person, even for someone else, one more person, is my goal, right? Like, oftentimes I find myself having amazing conversations and I'm like telling someone else, I'm like, you just had to be there. Like, this dude or this chick, she was so awesome. The way she worded this, like, it motivated me. Like, I wish you could have heard that conversation. Well, now I get to put it on camera and a mic, and it's like, hey, this conversation was awesome. Go check it out on YouTube. So it shapes me every day because it humbles me. It realizes, like, I'm no better than the next person. So I'm just going to approach this with the best of intention in hopes that it resonates with someone. If it does, awesome, we'll connect. If it doesn't, there's 1,000 other podcasts. There's a million other people in this world. Hopefully you find that connection. So it keeps me humble and it keeps me grounded. Talk to me about the Relentless Project. How did it start? So Relentless Project is a motivational slash, I don't want to say educational, but someone has said that before, but it's essentially a long form podcast where I get to sit with people in the city who are doing amazing and awesome things. The whole premise behind the Relentless Project, well, when did it start? I started in 23, September of 2023. And the reason, what is your mission? My mission is to share as many stories as I can. Because like I mentioned before, there's been so many influential people in my life, conversations I've had, and it's people that don't have a podcast. They're not on social media. They're not entrepreneurs or they're not famous, but their stories changed my life. How many of these people exist today that we pass by every day who have a story and we don't care to listen to it because they're not quote unquote influential enough? So my mission is to platform as many stories as I can in hopes to change and push and inspire other people to take ownership of their lives. I sit down with athletes, fighters, entrepreneurs, other creators, and I hear their stories, and it's crazy. No matter where we come from, whether you come from a great suburb living, humble beginnings, your parents were together, your parents weren't together, you had money, you didn't have money, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, Puerto Rican, we all share the similar story. We are all connected, and we are all simple decisions away from having either the same life or different lives. And I know social media and the environment today, we like to put people in certain, like, oh, they're over there, they're over there. We're more connected than we think. And part of the mission of the podcast is to show people, doesn't matter where you come from, it's what you're gonna do and how you're gonna do it that matters. And who you're gonna network with, who are you gonna associate yourself with? Are you gonna take the shortcut or are you gonna do the hard work? My long-term vision is to create a platform where I can give back, whether financially or like I get a lot of these fighters especially, and they're working a job and they're sacrificing time with their family, and they can't afford these camps that they're in, but they're finding a way they're training. I would love to just be able to be like, let me cover your cost of your camp so you can push for your dream and push for your goal. Or an entrepreneur coming in trying to do a startup or something, me going, let me help you start that because you have so much passion for it. Like my long-term vision is to create a platform where everyone is networking together, everyone is connected, and everyone is helping each other build their dreams and goals. If we look at Hollywood today, which I won't get to the dark side of Hollywood, but everyone's connected. And when you look at it, you're like, man, they were connected 20 years ago. And I think everyone started with good intentions. And it's like, they were hanging out, they were working together, they were referring each other to each other depending on what their trade was, what their skill was. And it's like everyone was connected and everyone rose to quote unquote fame. Like we can do that on a smaller scale. There's so many people doing great things in the city. You're doing this. We mentioned Vin Diesel. He's got his store. He's got fashion. We got the fighters who are connected. We got business owners who are connected. We can all be connected and help. A rising tide raises all ships. I don't understand the competition with everything. I just had a conversation with another podcast, and he's asking for advice on how to make his better. And I'm like, this is what I do. You should try this. You should try. Like my podcast is 1 to 2 hours of someone's day. Like, and I don't even feel like I'm doing good at it. So like, go listen to these guys who are doing great, right? I'm the first person to push that because I just want to help people and push people, And I put myself last, and some will say it's silly, some will say that's the right way to do it. It's worked for me this far, so no complaints there. What has the Relentless Project taught you about yourself? Well, it's taught me that I need to be humble and I need to be very intentional with what I do, and that I'm not the greatest thing since shoestring. Um, I know it's easy to, when you're doing something good and you're receiving those praises, to go, yeah, this is like, I'm doing awesome, I'm doing great, which is good. I think you should be able to tell yourself that. However, you shouldn't act on that, right? Because at the end of the day, we're all just people and we're all doing things and we all have our strengths. I believe everyone has greatness within them. Some people, unfortunately, will die never tapping into that. And it's taught me to try to bring that out as many people as I can. Some people find it annoying because I'm the guy who's like, man, you're like, I have a friend of mine who crochets and she does amazing stuff. And now she's trying to get into photography. And I'm like, make it a business. Like, you can do this, you can do this. And I have these conversations with people and they're like, oh, dude, I'm just doing this for fun. I'm like, you can support yourself with this. I'm the guy who's always pushed. And some people just don't want to be pushed. Some people just want to do it for fun. I'm always like trying to push people to the next level. And I understand that that's not for everyone. So it's taught me to listen more intently, listen to where people are at and meet them where they're at, right? Because I can come in and offer a 10-page business plan. That's not their goal. So why am I pushing that onto them? So it's taught me to really humble myself and just meet people where they're at and be a resource there, whatever that may look like. What has it taught you about others? It's taught me that people are awesome. People are truly awesome. I love people, truly, because the conversations I have with people, everyone struggles. Everyone's trying to find the right way. We're all here for the first time, doing it, for the first time. It's the first time running a podcast. It's your first time with me as a guest, or it's your first time with children, or at this job, or at this promotion opportunity. Like, everyone is living life for the first time, and we're all trying to navigate it. And I think most people are doing it with the best intention. That being said, that doesn't mean you have to resonate with it, and that's fine. Like, I think we get so caught up in the method versus the mission, right? Like, the mission is everyone be happy, everyone strive for something, but we get caught up on the method of how they're doing it, and it's like, well, I don't do it that way. Why are you doing it this way? And we completely disregard the mission. I think that's where a lot of the issues lie in the world today. The mission is similar for a lot of people. The method may not be. Learn to be okay with that. And if you want to be a resource, resort to the mission. Don't resort to the method. If you don't want to be a resource because it doesn't resonate with you, respectfully just remove yourself. Like, we don't have to tell you, I don't like the way you're doing this. This is the care. Like, Don't get caught up in the method. Stay focused on the mission. So it's taught me to meet people where they're at. If your future self was here right now, what would he tell you to stop holding back? It's a good question. He would tell me to take my own advice. It's very easy for me to give people advice. It's not very easy for me to follow my own advice. Fear is very real. And when I'm on the other side of this seat, I can look at people, I can see kind of where their life has been and where I see it going. And it's easy for me to go, oh, this is what's holding you back. Well, I'm experiencing the same thing, right? Like the podcast. It's very scary. It's very time consuming, and we all use excuses to hold ourselves back. And it's just fear. And fear is something that we create ourselves. It's nothing but chemical responses in your brain telling you, hey, pay attention to this. That's all fear is, right? Like you see something hot and fiery, fear is telling you, don't touch that. It's going to hurt you. You can still reach out and touch it if you so choose. That's a decision. Jumping out of a plane, I use this analogy a lot. You're standing in that plane, 14,000 feet in the air. You're looking down. Fear is telling you, this may not end well. You're just one step away. You take one step, changes everything. A lot of times we let fear dictate our decisions. We let our emotions dictate our decisions. And I'm very guilty of that myself. So I would tell myself, listen to your own advice. Fear, you're creating. If you want to do something, go through it relentlessly, how you preach. So, which I will start doing after this episode airs, because I'm going to listen to myself and go, hone in, lock in, buddy. So, what would I tell myself to stop holding back? Take your own advice. Don't let fear dictate your decisions. What is the biggest lesson life is teaching you right now? Life is teaching me to learn to let go, right? Like, we want something to go a certain way, and we clench on it for dear life. And if it deviates in any way, we hold on to it. We white knuckle it to keep it on the path that we think it's best. When sometimes you may just need to let it go and deviate so that you reach your goal. A good analogy is football, right? If I'm a running back and I get the ball and I wanna go straight, I want to gain yards. There's a big wall of big men ready to hit me. Do I want to go through that wall, or do I take 3 steps to the right, maybe 1 step back to gain 7? Some people would just go straight, get hit, and gain 1 yard. That is my mentality. It's been my mentality for a long time. So it's teaching me to just trust the process, especially if you've taken so much time to build a process. Trust it. Like, trust the process. And if it doesn't work out, it will after. So yeah, it's the biggest lesson right now is learn to let go, learn to deviate, and learn to keep pushing forward relentlessly. What are you learning to love about yourself? I see why it's called the hot seat. I'm learning to love about myself. I would say my image. And that sounds superficial, but especially growing up, I always had to appear a certain way. Because I never felt like I belonged. So I had to feel like I belonged. And I had to be the look. It had to be how I present myself. And I'm learning to just accept myself for who I am at the moment. Because I may not be perfect. I know I'm not perfect. I may not belong in this room. But this is the room I want to be in. And I need to learn if it's the right room for me. And how do you know if it's the right room for you? If you approach it 100% yourself and it works. If it doesn't, maybe it's not the room for you. Oftentimes we force ourselves to be a certain way or act a certain way to fit in the certain spaces or to fit around certain people or to fit a certain image. And then we gain access to whatever this is. And then we find ourselves thinking why is everything going wrong? Why don't I feel like I belong? Why do I have these feelings? We find ourselves in this pit of darkness. And it's like, well, you changed everything about yourself to fit into this place or this room. You're no longer you. Find a place that accepts you for being you. And that's what I'm learning to love about myself. I invest myself into so many people, into so many things, and then I don't see that same love reciprocated. And it's like tough pill to swallow. And I'm just like, maybe that's not my room. Like, I did my thing, I did what I was called to do, and now it's time to just keep pushing forward, you know? But on the contrary, I've made lifelong friends and connections. And these are the people that mention you when you're not around. These are the people who refer you when you're not around. And all you did was have a conversation with them. And it's like, well, maybe that's where I belong. This is where my intentions need to be focused more on. So I'm learning to accept that I may not belong everywhere, but I belong somewhere. Hopefully, it's not word vomit. How has it felt to be seen in the hot seat today? It feels good. It feels good for someone to reach out to you and say, hey, I've watched you. I like what you're about. I want you to be a part of something I'm doing. Because that's how I approach people. And when I approach people, I don't know if it's the same for you, but I'm like super excited to hear their story. I'm like, I've, I've creeped on you long enough to know like we share a similar mission, we share a similar vibe, or I want to learn something from you. Like, will you be a part of this? So to get that back feels great. You know, it feels nice to be seen, and it feels nice to be a part of someone else's something because I have a something. So it's like it's a beautiful thing. Biggest takeaway: keep doing what I'm doing because obviously it's resonating with someone. And when I started this, that was my goal. And sometimes we look at the social media numbers or we look at the shares, we look at the plays, we look at the listens, and it's like only 500 people. If 500 people were in this room right now, I would be overwhelmed. So why do we like not appreciate it when it's online? So the biggest takeaway is keep doing what I'm doing. Very appreciative. Final thoughts. The hot seat is truly hot. Um, I appreciate what you're doing. I think we share similar vibes. Can't wait to switch the roles where I'm more comfortable, but I appreciate what you're doing, and I think it's a great platform for people to reflect on themselves. It gives people, myself, an opportunity to sit and go, this is not about anyone else but yourself. And I know I'm guilty of putting myself on the back burner and focusing on everyone else. And this was an opportunity to finally focus on myself. And I appreciate it.